Hi all! So let's explore the concept of gas on Ethereum Platform. We are all familiar with the transaction cost in conventional banking. When you shop using debit or credit cards from a merchant, the money is transferred from your bank account to the merchant's bank account. This transaction is facilitated by network providers like PayPal, Visa, MasterCard and American Express to name a few. For this they charge a fee that is around 2 to 3% of the transaction cost, which is usually borne by the merchant. Even in the case of multiple people accessing the network at the same time and there being a lot of traffic, the fee percentage still remains the same. Also, each transaction is processed on first come first serve basis. That is, the transaction that enters the network first is processed first. Likewise, the transaction fee paid on the Ethereum blockchain platform is called as gas. As gas is needed to run the engine of a vehicle, likewise, gas fees is what fuels the Ethereum network to undertake the transaction. Before we dig deeper into understanding how to compute gas, let's understand Ethereum. Ethereum is an open source, blockchain-based, distributed computing platform and operating system. Many cryptocurrencies, decentralized applications, smart contracts and tokens have been created using the Ethereum virtual machine. While Ether is the native cryptocurrency on this platform, there are other cryptocurrencies as well that are built on the Ethereum network. Thus, Ethereum is not just a cryptocurrency, but a platform that hosts a lot of applications. Users of all these applications need to pay gas fees. The more complex an operation, the more units of gas it will cost to execute. Well, who receives the gas fee? The concept of gas was introduced to compensate the miners for their work done on maintaining and securing the blockchain. Ethereum validators who perform the essential tasks of verifying and processing transactions on the network are awarded this fee in return for staking their Ether and verifying blocks. In what currency do we pay the gas fees? Well, gas fees is paid in GUI. Like $1 is equal to 100 cents, similarly the smaller denomination for Ether cryptocurrency is GUI and 1 Ether is equal to 1 billion GUI. Let's look at a simple example. John wishes to send 50 Ether to Mona. So gas cost is number of gas units required for the transaction into base cost per unit. Gas units for each transaction type are fixed and predefined. A standard Ether transfer requires a gas limit of 21,000 units of gas. Base price of gas units, well, this is not defined and this is determined by the forces of demand and supply. We shall get into this later, but currently let's assume it's 50 GUI. So the total transaction cost would be simple multiplication of 21,000 gas units into 50 GUI, which is equal to 0.00105 Ether. So in order to transfer 50 Ether, John will have to incur 0.00105 Ether. And to calculate it in dollar terms, if 1 Ether is currently trading at $2,000, then the total transaction cost of transfer in dollar terms would be 2,000 into 0.0015, which amounts to $2.10. In terms of processing fees, Ethereum can currently process only around 30 transactions per second. And the exact gas price is determined by supply and demand and network capacity at the time of transaction. So if network is congested, gas prices will go high. On the other hand, they could be low if there is not much traffic. Also, on this network, transaction is not processed on first come first serve basis. Well, what does that mean? The transaction that comes first on the network may not be processed first. So if John wants to jump the queue and process the transaction really fast, he has to bid a tip over and above the gas price per unit. And whoever tips the highest, their transaction will be processed first. The lower a user estimates the gas price, the lower the priority in the queue. This system is designed to motivate miners to get involved in the hours of traffic, which eventually will smoothen the blockchain process. In absence of sufficient miners and huge traffic, the system can collapse. Coming back to our example, since there is traffic on network, the base gas price per unit has changed from 50 GUI to 70 GUI. Also, John decides to tip 30 GUI for the fast transactions. So number of gas units is still fixed at 21,000. However, price per unit will now be 70 plus 30. Thus, the new transaction cost would be 21,000 into 100 GUI. Applying the same calculation, the overall transaction cost will now be $4.2. To summarize, the following are the elements that have an impact on gas price. The first being the type of transaction. The more complex the transaction, more computational power will be needed and higher will be the predefined gas units. Higher the traffic on network, so if there's more traffic, higher will be the per unit gas fee. Tip and the priority fee, well, though it's not mandatory, it's as the user's choice whether to tip or not. And lastly, the price of Ether. So if the higher the price of Ether, higher the price in terms of dollar. Unfortunately, making purchases when traffic is low on the blockchain is the only quick fix to the high gas fees. Thank you. Hope this explanation was helpful.